Alright, so hey, what's going on, guys? It's Sonic25, and welcome to my analysis of the Sonic Rangers leaks and posts and everything related to this new Sonic game that's coming, apparently in 2022. So, let's go ahead and get into it right away. So the first things first is that the game is unofficially titled Sonic Rangers for right now. There were things in the source code, also not to mention 4chan posts, and the fact that they line up means that, at least for now, the unofficial title or the working title is Sonic Rangers. It could be the same way like how Sonic Forces was unofficially titled Sonic Wars, but I don't know, Sonic Rangers already sounds like a very, sort of a final kind of title. We'll see. The title is probably the least of what I want to talk about right now, so let's get into some of this stuff. So one of the main things is a 4chan post made by an anonymous user where they've mentioned, and this post was in January, by the way, so they've mentioned in this post a bunch of stuff talking about how they focus tested a game called Sonic Rangers, and the fact that this was in January, and in Sonic Central, the Sonic Central that was released a few days ago, there was the whole thing about Sonic Rangers. It wasn't officially shown in the trailer, but people have dug into the source code and found the name Sonic Rangers in there. So those two aligning could mean that this leak might be legit. I still don't know how legit, but it could. There is a very high possibility. There was also another 4chan post that was made right before the trailer was released. However, first things first, the thing is I wanted to go for the January post because it was a lot more descriptive. And second of all, it felt a lot more professional than the March 20, the Sonic Central post, the May, not March. So the one before Sonic Central just doesn't, it just feels like the dude copy pasted something from the January poster. Now, getting into this post, there are a lot of things to cover. First things first, he goes on about the open world concept of the game, where the game is basically an open world with enemies, puzzles, and platforming challenges and all that stuff. And I actually saw a lot of people comparing this to Breath of the Wild, and while I definitely think that there are Breath of the Wild elements, because, let's be honest, Breath of the Wild really redefined how open world is being done nowadays, especially with games like Genshin and stuff coming out. The fact that Breath of the Wild was used as an inspiration isn't that surprising, but I would also like to point a finger at the two Sonic games, the one made by Supersonic 68, it's Green Hill Final Mix or something.
Oh no!
And the other being Sonic Utopia, both of which could have served as an inspiration for Sega to create an open world Sonic game. They're like, oh, these fan games have done really well, so why don't we try to make an open world Sonic game, but with like a huge budget and a dedicated team to all that stuff. So I definitely can't deny that Breath of the Wild might have had some role in it, but calling it a Breath of the Wild ripoff would kind of just be very dismissive of these fans who have worked so hard to make open world things and possibly inspired Sega too. I want to give it a little bit of highlight. I wasn't really a fan of Sonic Utopia because it didn't really have the concept of a game. It just felt like a novelty of just open world. Okay, cool, now run around. Whereas the Green Hill Final Mix made by Supersonic 68 was an actual level with an actual goal and objectives and stuff. So if I were to choose between the two, I would hope that they took more inspiration from the Green Hill Final Mix level rather than the Sonic Utopia game. Now moving on, there's a bunch of stuff about an RPG type XP system. If you defeat enemies, complete challenges, etc., you get experience points. And this is a system that I really, really like. I do enjoy an XP skill tree system. So the idea is that the XP points are redeemed in a skill tree to unlock cool different skills, and I'm a big fan. I'm gonna be honest, I loved it in Sonic and the Secret Rings, I loved it in Sonic Unleashed. Sonic and the Black Knight wasn't so great because you didn't really redeem your points, it was just more like a progression. But Sonic Generations had an interesting spin. It was the exact opposite, where instead of getting more points, you would get more skills, and you would allocate skills based on a given number of points. You had 100 points, and you had to allocate your skills accordingly, which was also a neat little twist to it. And I'm glad that they're bringing it back, because I really think a skill tree works in Sonic, and it could add a level of depth to the game, you know? You need incentive in an open world game to do all these challenges and stuff, and an XP skill tree system would be a really good incentive, if I'm being honest. Now, one skill in particular caught my interest, and it apparently, well, I would say that it caught this guy's interest since he's talking about it. It is the Spin Cycle, and I really like the name of this. This name sounds super duper cool. So the concept of this, according to him, is you hold down Y, which I'm guessing is the top button on the controller. They said they were playing on Xbox controller, but they didn't say it. It was kind of implied. I don't think you QC a game on Nintendo Switch. You'd probably QC the game on a PC, which would most likely mean that they use an Xbox controller. So it's Y on the Xbox controller, X probably on the Nintendo Switch controller. You hold down Y and Sonic starts tracing a circle apparently, and when you complete a circle, Sonic destroys every enemy inside of it. Now, this kind of reminds me of the Paraloop ability from Knights. I am a really big fan of Knights Journey of Dreams, and I instantly thought, aha, Paraloop. And I really find that super cool because I really enjoyed the Paraloop. For those of you guys who don't know, in Knights Journey of Dreams, there is a move called a Paraloop where Knights has this twinkle dust that flies around it, and when you fly in a circle with Knights and you close a loop with that twinkle dust, then that forms basically a portal which sucks in all the enemies that are within that circle. Another way that I thought about it is that it could be the modern iteration of the Lightspeed Dash, or the Lightspeed Attack rather, from Sonic Adventure, where instead of, charging it up and attacking any nearby enemies, Sonic would trace the circle and then attack all the enemies in that circle at light speed in a way, something like that. I think the more likely explanation is the Paraloop type of thing, where you trace the circle and all the enemies inside it just probably explode in like this ball of energy or something. But I would find it super duper cool if you used a Spin Cycle and Lightspeed attacked and every single enemy inside. I think it would be a really cool way to bring back adventure style moves like the one that was in Sonic Adventure and Sonic Heroes. Another thing that I thought about the Spin Cycle implicitly in a way is that the controls might be a little bit more adventure like. Now, let me provide a bit of context, okay? Modern Sonic's finer control sucks. I really can't say much more about it besides that. There is almost no sense of fine control. The best I could give it is Sonic Unleashed, where you had some sense of it and you could do rudimentary platforming challenges, but Colors, Generations, and especially Forces, like, you try making a circle with modern Sonic, it's just not happening. It's really, really difficult, and it makes sense because all those games, for the most part, you don't have areas where you make circles like that. So there is a very good chance that there could be some sort of hybrid control scheme or adventure style gameplay in this open world section. And I think that would be pretty neat because I've always thought about a hybrid style of gameplay for Sonic. I never really thought that, adventure is better than Boost or Boost is better than adventure. I think that they both have their elements. Like, Boost has a lot of high speed elements that would work really well, and adventure has a lot of platforming elements that would work really well. And I feel like if you could find a way to balance the best of both of those gameplay styles, it would really work. And if they do that for this game, they might have the definitive Sonic Gameplay Edition or the definitive Sonic gameplay style for the foreseeable future. If they pull it off right, there is a chance that that using the Spin Cycle could also suck because they just decided to use modern Sonic controls. There is a chance of that happening. I will not deny that. But the optimist in me wants to think that they worked out the kinks in modern Sonic's controls and decided to do that by adapting adventure-style controls into modern Sonic. I don't know. I can hope. The next thing that he mentioned was that this lock-on attack returned, which I have absolutely zero idea what that means. If any of you guys know what that means, you can go ahead and tell me in the comments. I genuinely don't know what to make of this part. I don't know if it's like something that I know and something that I'm like missing because I'm an idiot, but I can't make anything of it right now. So the next part is something that really interested me and also partially worries me. There are these bosses in an open world stage which drop orbs. These orbs then function as sort of like keys, which open a portal leading to the cyberspace type level, which is, according to the leaker, is a Generations or Unleashed Boost style of gameplay where apparently the music is really, really good. That's what they're saying, at least. So already I can say that this is very akin to Sonic Unleashed, where the orbs function almost like medals, where you have to get a certain amount to unlock a stage. Or if you want to go with the Breath of the Wild analogy, then you could say that these cyberspace levels are like the shrines. I don't know, whichever you want to say. Personally, I think it's a little bit more akin to Sonic Unleashed because you don't really have a requirement to enter these levels in Breath of the Wild. You don't have a requirement to enter shrines. Thinking of this game as sort of a more blown-up open-world style of Unleashed actually makes me a lot more hopeful for what they have. Now all that was interesting. I actually think that could work really well, and to me, it sort of fixes partially fixes the problem that I had with Open World Sonic and Sonic Utopia, where that it didn't feel like a dedicated game. So having these cyberspace levels along with platforming challenges, bosses, puzzles, and enemies could actually remedy the fact that, you know, it's not just the novelty of running around in a huge open world. There's actually a game behind it. There is potential for this. But there is something that worries me now, and it's this next line. Beating them fast enough grants Chaos Emeralds. Now, that might seem a bit unassuming at first, but it could also mean that we might only have 7 cyberspace stages. That could suck, considering the fact that 7 cyberspace stages, which are apparently the best part of the game, it just doesn't feel like the game. I could be wrong, again, but it feels like the game wouldn't be fleshed out enough to truly explore. They want to put more emphasis on the open world thing, and if that's the case, they really have to nail the open world thing for the game to feel fun, especially if they're only having 7 cyberspace stages. Again, I could be wrong. There could be more cyberspace stages, with some of them only giving you Chaos Emeralds and some of them not. But beating them fast enough, it doesn't seem like there was anything that was, like, you know, exclusive. It felt like the whole beating them fast enough, meaning giving you Chaos Emeralds, means that there are probably only 7 cyberspace stages. I hope to God that I'm wrong on this one. I really do. They then went on to go about the fact that exploration and combat was very boring and felt very button mashy, which is honestly understandable because Sonic wasn't really built for combat. Even the enemies in a lot or most of Sonic games don't really work as enemies, they work as platforms. You don't really have these enemies with health bars. The only one exception I could think of was Sonic Heroes. I mean, in Sonic Heroes, you normally attacked with the power character or the flight characters in order to take the enemies out in one hit. You don't really go attacking the enemies with the speed characters unless you have a level 2 or a level 3 homing attack, and even then you would use them occasionally, but the power characters would be the ones to take out bulkier enemies. And if you use the speed character with a level 0 or level 1 homing attack, well, you would just be button mashing away to take out one enemy. So I could understand the fact that them saying that the gameplay was boring and a bit button mashy, I can understand where it's coming from. And I definitely hope that it's one of these things that they fix before the game comes out. The last thing that I saw, besides this whole final boss thing, which I really won't go into too much, there was new voice acting by Roger, but no one else. I don't really know how quality control and focus testing works, but usually I would assume that focus testing involves exposure to gameplay and not the story. So my guess is that they had a limited access to the story. So they said that it was only Sonic and Roger, and they didn't really have an idea of the other characters. That's my guess. It could very well be that it's a Sonic-only game, like Sonic Colors, which had only Sonic and Tails. I don't know. It's a bit that one's a little bit. It's a bit too early to call that one right now. So the last thing that they said was that the gameplay was super rough and not a fun time, and this one made me just go, well, I mean, what did you expect? It was a focus test. You're meant to call out all the flaws to make it not feel rough. But there is potentially... They tested this at around January 6th, 2021. This game is coming out in 2022. If they have done their job correctly as a focus tester, we don't know when this game is coming out in 2022, because 2022 is very, very vague. And usually Sonic games are revealed about a year to a year and a half before they come out. So we could assume that from the moment of testing this, we have about a year and a half. That could give us June. Worst or the most extended case, we'll probably have holiday 2022. So that gives Sonic Team a year to a year and a half to fix any issues with this game, which is, I don't know, again, I don't know much about game development, but it feels like this game, a lot of it has been determined. If you think about Forces, from the way people were talking about that game, it felt like a lot of it was spent on creating this new engine, but nearing the end of the game's dev cycle, they really didn't have much planned out for the game, and it shows. I don't know how long they really spent on it, because a lot of people are now refuting the fact that it only took 1 year for all of the levels in Forces to be developed, but they did say that the game was super rushed. However, if they already already have a lighting engine, and from the sound of it, a lot of the game has already been fleshed out and, mapped in a way. If they spend 1.5 to 2 years polishing this game, then there is a very good chance for this game to turn out really, really good. I know a lot of people aren't optimistic because it's Sonic Team, and quite frankly, it is very understandable if you are not optimistic for this game. I can get it. We've all been burned quite a bit, especially with the most recent game, Sonic Forces. We've all been burned. And honestly, it's the reason why I'm not super excited, jumping on my chair. I don't know. I just feel like I'm okay with it. I think that there's potential for this. They have a chance. They just can't screw this up. That's all we need to hope for, honestly. We just have to hope that Sonic Team pulls this off correctly, polishes whatever they can in these 1.5 to 2 years, and make it not suck. I genuinely hope that they try their best to do it. I don't know. I feel like this could work as a game. This could really, really work well. There is potential in this. I don't know why. I've seen a lot of people complain about the concept of this in general, which doesn't make sense to me. Open world Sonic is a really, really good concept, having this huge inflated world where you can just run around in and have tons and tons of fun. It sounds really, really good. The execution is what we need to hope that Sonic Team doesn't mess up. I like to think optimistically on it. I genuinely hope that they can do it. If I'm being honest, I would actually like to ask this leaker a lot more specific questions. Like, what can you give me a few specifics about what exactly was boring besides, the exploration and open world stuff? What were the lowest of low points? How did the controls feel? That's one thing that I definitely want to ask. What do you mean by generation style levels? Do you mean like general boost levels? Or was it actually something like Generation Seaside Hill, good quality level? It's because generation style doesn't really give much. It could just mean that it's a boost level. So it's a bit tough to say. So were there two different control schemes for the cyberspace levels and the open world level? Mainly the one thing I want to know is how the open world controls feel, because if they're doing a spin cycle, then you best believe that they better be putting in some form of adventure style controls, because trying to do a circle with modern Sonic just does not work. That is the one thing that I hope that they fix, or I hope that they implement, because if they don't, I can definitely understand why the combat kind of is not so good. But if they do, it could be really good. So yeah, I'm guessing that we're gonna have another trailer for actual gameplay at E3, because this was done in January 2021. So again, if the QC tester has done their job and told Sonic Team about all of this without mincing words and being as accurate as possible, there is a chance that we could see some elements of refined gameplay at around E3. And hopefully that can lead to a really good game coming out sometime in 2022. Again, this is all my hope. I genuinely hope that they can do it. But yeah, I guess that means until E3, until we get more news, there's really not much to say on this topic. And it'll be back to usual videos. Till then, guys!